in one verse.
I am recording this meeting because there's nothing private we are talking. It's about issues about the heart. We passed that. I didn't record that section. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Okay.
Can you summarize? Can you summarize what I told you? Sometimes it is good in discussion to paraphrase the other person so that we make sure that we are listening to each other, because it is my experience when I discuss with Sunnis or many other people who are very passionate, they don't hear their opponents. I hear you. If you want me to paraphrase you, you said that the word heart in the Quran is used as the center of intelligence and stuff, and therefore the Quran has errors in it. And I told you that it is a metaphor, it is for intention, and in many other languages to use the word heart, it means intention. The disease, there are diseases in their hearts when the Quran says it is not about biological heart. It talks about people who their intention is crooked, who do not have good intention to seek the truth. And did you understand that part?
Yeah, I got you.
And tell me what is wrong with that. I told you, I challenge you, bring me any contemporary book written by scientists, not any, because there may not be the word heart in that book, but I can find many books written by professors, by scientists. You will see, if I look at it that literally, without looking at the context of the word, the usage of the word, I may show you that they do not have even elementary knowledge of science.
Okay, therefore, I got your point. That the usage of the word heart, qalb, in the Quran is actually just metaphorical. Yeah, I got you. But this understanding is quite problematic. First, I'm going to assume that you're a Quran only Muslim. You're not a Sunni or Shia or anything else, right?
And yes, I am. I don't follow any hadith or seerah or other books, fiqh, sectarian books. And you said you were a former Muslim, you are a Lebanese, you are a young man. Mashallah, that's beautiful. At this young age, you rejected your parents' religion, which I don't think that you were a former Muslim, you were a former Sunni. You are right now a Sunni atheist or a Sunni deist because your concept of Islam is polluted with the teachings of Sunni or Shiite religion. I don't know what is your background.
Yeah, I was a Sunni. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I was a Quran alone. I was a Quran alone Muslim for about 2 years.
But you were on your way trajectory. You were getting out of your parents' religion. For a short time, you visited our station, but because your angle or your momentum was so things, you didn't really appreciate the Quran alone much. Therefore, boom, you went to are you out of the planet solar system, or are you in galaxy? Where are you right now?
Muhammad, is the air too strong?
Where are you now in your theological or philosophical quest for truth? Are you in solar system or in galaxy? Because sometimes you can become so skeptic, you are out of this universe. Let me, if you don't mind, I just give you a brief anecdote, my experience, and I will let you know. You can show your picture too if you want. After recording people, I want to see you.
Well, I'm on 4G, that's why.
I was, several years ago, I was invited to Kazakhstan. I had 2 conferences there, correct? Aydar. Oh, you are there. You are one of those, hosts. Thank you very much. I met Aydar in Almaty, Kazakhstan. Asilbek, God bless him, he passed away. He and Aydar and few friends, they organized several conferences, several days for me. I went there. I had a lecture on Islamic reform, and also a whole lecture, and also a debate from Isa. What was his name? There was a British
preacher.
And British preacher. He was very eloquent. His English was much better than mine. A debate with him, though it was recorded pretty low quality recording, but still you will see my debate with him, a very interesting discussion. It is on video. And then one evening, I had a presentation of Miracle of the Quran, mathematical structure of the Quran based on number 19 to a select group of philosophers and mathematicians from university, Almaty University. And I had presentation. I responded to every question. Kind of, to me, it was satisfactory answer, and therefore, and then they were done. It seems I responded to every objection and question, and there was one philosopher there. I have his name in my report on this event. It is on 19.org. If you write Edip, Kazakhstan or Almaty, you will see that. And that philosopher had his last objection. What he said to me, it was really not in the crowd. After the event, we're drinking some tea or whatever cold there. He told me, he said, Professor Edip, in another universe, 2 times 2 may not be equal to 4. Can you imagine? This guy, and then I told him, well, forget about in another universe, in another country, this conversation may not mean anything. It may be nonsense. Now you are trying to kind of put doubt on mathematics while you are talking in arbitrary human language. I said, this guy, look at him. This guy got out of this earth. He got out of the solar system. It was not enough. Milky Way and galaxies. He got out of this universe. He ran away so much from 19, the mathematical structure. He went out of another universe, created an imaginary universe where 2 times 2 is not equal to 4, when number 10 does adding up to 9 doesn't add up to 19. Unbelievable when I saw that one. Therefore, when I ask you what part of the universe are you in right now, you may get out of the universe. You may become Pyrrhonian skeptic. Okay,
no,
it's your turn.
I'm a normal skeptic. All right, to return to your question on the heart. You said that the heart generally in the Quran means the intention. And by the way, I was a Quran al-Muslim for 2 years, not just a few period of time. No, it was a long period of 2 years. Anyways, so when you read the Quran in its entirety, you look at every single instance where the Quran mentions the heart, you would see that it's ascribing to the heart a certain role, not just metaphorically. Like sometimes it is metaphorical. Like he inserted in their hearts fear, which makes sense. I mean, we feel fear inside our hearts. I mean, because it pumps too fast, which makes sense. So this might be metaphorical. But when we want to talk about, like when the Quran says, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَتَكُنْ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا. Don't they walk in the land and have hearts that they reason with? أَوْ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا, or ears that they hear with. Here, what is the Quran doing? The Quran is ascribing to each organ a specific function. The ear's function is to hear. The heart's function is to reason. So this is obvious in the Quran. But if you want to do some mental gymnastics and say, no. Sorry, wait, the earphones fell off. Yeah, I was saying, so if you want to do some mental gymnastics and say that, no, that's not what the Quran is saying, you're just implementing your view on the Quran. This is not taken from the Quran itself. And actually, this is what the scholars have been saying all along. And I even sent an article. You said that you read Arabic. They said that the mind is actually inside the heart and not in the brain. So we know that the mind is the brain in action, but these scholars are saying the opposite. The mind is the heart in action. So that's basically my, and even the Quran says in Surah An-Nas, the last chapter, الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ, the one who whispers inside the chests, not just the heart, the chest. So it's 100%, it's alluding to the heart. So if the whispers are inside the heart, then you think from your heart. So that's my point.
The heart, the usage of ears and eyes and seeing with them, it is, if you look at throughout the Quran, it is not the eyes that get blind. It is something else. It is, yes, the usage of the eye, but the Quran really turned it to a metaphor in many places, not necessarily. It is about a person's point of view, a person's paradigm, perspective. For example, God says they are blind. And by the usage of the word blind and the eye, you can say, well, it means blind people are bad people. The Quran really bashes them. But in chapter Abasa, you see it is not about that. And God defends the blind person who came to Muhammad, and Muhammad disregarded him. Therefore, the Quran really, when it talks about the eye, seeing the eye, in another verse, it explains it. It is not talking about the organ that you see. It is deeper than that. Therefore, I want you to go another look with that. You will find out the word heart is used, that the initial intention of the person that makes a decision about how to reason, how to distort the facts, or how to find the truth. That is really the initial, the core, that it is inside ourselves. Sadr means it is hidden.
No. Sadr means chest.
Yes,
we can't change the meaning.
In language, listen, in language that you will see the word, Sadr is the one that protects from outside, that makes it invisible. And what is inside of the person, that look at the issues, I will look at the same premises, you reach to a different conclusion, I reach to a different conclusion. Or you have a confirmation bias, or I have confirmation bias. This is led to something really, to me, is a mystery. The initial intention, deeper intention of the person, what determines whether that person will witness this fact or will see it absolutely differently backward. And we all observe these, the same text, the same facts. You see some people do not see it, do not accept it. And therefore,
I mean, you can reinterpret anything.
May I interject?
Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
Yeah.
You know, I really am losing the plot of the discussion here, because, you know, I'm really trying to understand what the purpose is. Anybody who's witnessed somebody who's had a heart plant, they don't become a different person because they had a heart transplant. So, you know, I don't know why we're debating even, you know, where the wishes arise and where the thinking happens.
No, we're not debating whether the thinking is inside the heart or the brain. We're debating whether the Quran is saying that the thinking is inside the heart or the brain. This is the point of difference.
You know, your point is still not is going to reach its conclusion, because if somebody's had a heart transplant and you can show that this is now a different person, all their thinking has changed, all their wishes have changed because they had a heart transplant, then your point is well founded. If you think the heart is this pump in our body, that's the one we are calling heart. If that is what you mean that the Quran is referring to, then it doesn't make any sense at all.
But you didn't get his point. Muhammad says, during the revelation of the Quran time, or Muhammad, when made up the Quran, he says, that time they didn't have this knowledge. People thought it was really heart, the source of thinking. They didn't have heart transplant to really witness that it is not true. Therefore, he says that the Quran reflects the knowledge, the archaic, wrong, false knowledge about heart, biology. Therefore, he says it is not word of God. That's the argument, my brother Tanvir.
Yeah, I mean, Edip, I understand what he's saying. We still speak with all the modern knowledge. We still speak in those terms. We say, my heart says.
Yeah, you are right. Absolutely. And therefore I say,
I love somebody with my heart.
Yeah.
It's just a way of speaking. You know, it feels something central to our being.
Yeah.
We can't really touch it. We know what it means. It means it's from the core of our being.
Exactly, core.
Soul or whatever it is.
Central person.
But you know, that's what Aristotle used to believe. He used to believe that.
We don't need to confuse it with anatomical science, because otherwise we're losing the plot.
Yeah, I get you. But Aristotle used to believe that the center of intelligence is the heart. And so it's no surprise that the Quran says the same thing. And the Quran says that the eyes are for sight, the ears are for hearing, and then says that the heart is for reason. So he's ascribing to each organ a specific function. So why should we say that this heart here is metaphorical? I mean, all the others are not metaphorical. Why should this be metaphorical?
You know, Edip has just alluded to this point. The Quran also says they have eyes with which they cannot see. So that means they're not physically blind.
Exactly.
The processing is happening somewhere else. Because
where is that?
Wherever you're
there is a verse. لهم
عين لا يبصرون بها.
عيون لا يبصرون بها. لهم أذان لا يسمعون بها. Therefore, it is not really necessarily talks about this. It is about the perception of you, what you interpret when you hear, what you interpret when you see, or when you get idea how your intention when you reason. Before reasoning, before aql, there is an intention. Therefore, through that intention, people either become sophists or become philosophers. And when you have crooked intention, I want you to look at this book. Try to see some incredible prophetic nature and knowledge in these books. And then you will see those, and then you will say, this one seems false. But when you see incredible knowledge in the Quran, incredible mathematical structure and prophecy, then you say, here, maybe I am doing unjust by interpreting literally. Here, I should do that. Therefore, at least give some benefit of doubt. But when you stick confirmation bias, when you want to disprove it, you will not see incredible nature of the Quran. I know you will become blind to it. And I have seen people, obvious, incredible facts I show from the Quran. They say this scientific information in the Quran cannot be during the time of Prophet Muhammad.
Can you tell me one scientific miracle in the Quran? Just one.
There are many. I say you, the earth and the skies and the space, they were one point, and we've separated them from each other. In another verse says, we are expanding the space. And in another verse, we are going to bring them back like the pages of the book, like the old time. Therefore, it is a closed universe. And another one, the earth, the creation phase, it was gas. Therefore, we have some information that modern cosmology, not 1 point, not 2, not 3, many points, it hit exactly the target. First, that the idea of Big Bang is in the Quran, the idea of expanding universe in the Quran, and the idea of closed universe in the Quran, though today scientists right now mostly about open universe, but the Quran says it is a closed universe. Therefore, the amount of matter or dark matter maybe is more than the power of explosion. Therefore, the universe will collapse on itself. And therefore, these are very impressive information. There are many other information. I have in my book, 19 questions for atheists. It's in Turkish version. Half of it is translated into English, but here, this is 10 questions, but it is 19 questions. And these are the philosophical questions, 9.5 philosophical questions and 9.5 theological questions and rebuttal to atheist and Christian criticism of the Quran. The language of the Quran is impressive, is beyond your expectation, my friend. And
just to respond to the few scientific quote unquote miracles that you just said. First of all is the Big Bang, which is in Surah 21, verse number 30, Surah Al-Anbiya. This is actually has nothing to do with the Big Bang.
Can you show yourself? We want to see your face because you talk from darkness.
I prefer not to show my face.
You prefer not to? Okay, no problem. I respect that. Mashallah. John and Kalash, welcome. Ashikul Islam, everyone. Hijran. Go ahead. We are discussing with brother, what is he? He disappeared. Muhammad. Muhammad from, he's talking from Turkey, Istanbul, but he's originally from Lebanon. He's there right now. He was a Sunni, and later he said he became Quran alone. Now he's, I don't know whether you are atheist or deist. He's deist. Okay, go ahead. You're talking about chapter Anbiya, verse, what was it? Verse
30.
20? Yeah, 30, yes.
Yeah, I was saying that the Quran, you said that the Quran says that the earth and the heavens and the space were joined together, but the Quran does not mention space. There is no word for space in Arabic. The Quran just says the heavens and the earth. We should see what the Big Bang says, the science of the Big Bang, and see what the language itself entails when such a verse is being mentioned. It says that the heavens and the earth كانتا رتقا. What does رتقا mean in the Arabic language? رتقا means they were joined together. It means that they were both present at the same time, and they were joined together. So in Arabic, it's called multasiqatan. Okay, and this all the interpretations say this. So, and then they will split. This is actually not impressive. First, it's wrong. Second, I mean, it was present in the Sumerian myth of Gilgamesh. I mean, it's nothing new. So if you want to consider this as a miracle, then I mean, I can bring any book and say, oh, look, it's a miracle. And okay, the next one was وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. I used to believe the same thing. I used to think, oh, look, it's the expansion of the universe. Well, no, sorry to burst your bubble, but it's not. In Arabic, it's wrong to say مُوسِعُون. I should say إِنَّا لَمُوسِعُون. We are expanding it. مُوسِع, مُوسِع. أما Musa means just a lot, like Musa qadruh. This is present in the Quran, which means he's very generous, he's very giving, he's very, you know. So muwassi' is the word to use for expansion. So it has nothing to do with the expansion of the universe. The third thing was that the universe will be, you know, it will be like a book. يوم نطوي السماء كطي السجل للكتب. I don't know if you're understanding my Arabic, but anyways. There are many theories right now in modern physics and theoretical physics. That's why it's called theoretical. There's no facts. There's no consensus among physicists now, especially with the quantum mechanics, with its rise. We have no idea what will happen to the universe in billions of years. And the Quran says that all these things will happen together. وَجُمِعَ الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ. The oceans will explode, and etc., etc. And the moon and the sun, and then the day of judgment. But there is no day in physics. They don't say it will all happen in one day. It says it will happen over the course of a long process. So this is basically a quick response to the scientific miracles.
Yeah.
Edip, can I just say that it's interesting that the brother is acknowledging that all these are theories. There are all kinds of theories, because there are no facts. These are all
facts.
These
are theories.
These are all theories, and you can pick and choose, you know, which one is your favorite one.
Well, can I add a comment? I'm actually not really a big fan of the so-called like scientific miracles. Yeah, for number one, those verses about like nature are I prefer to see them in their context of illustrating certain theological points, and if it uses yeah, sure, it can use the language of the Middle Ages, and that's perfectly understandable because yeah, because that's the language people used to think with, and yeah, that's the language that will make sense to them. And yeah, I think if it uses some like archaic theories, it's fine. It's just the language to illustrate theological points. But another comment I have is that science is okay. First of all, I'm a scientist. Okay, I'm not a cosmologist. I'm a bioinformatician. Like yeah, like I studied the genome, and so yeah, it's not my expertise to comment on cosmology or geology and so on. But but actually, like in practice, science is more like a process, like a method, than like outcomes, than like a list of facts. So the outcomes actually change a lot. And so number one, I do really wonder, like for so long history of Islam, like so for so long, like the very standard theory is it's geocentrism was the polemic theory. That was the paradigm. And so I sort of wonder, how did the medieval philosophers read the Quran? Like how would they so when you say that those verses would mean like Big Bang and so on, and how did the medieval philosophers who were really convinced that geocentrism was true reconcile that? And number two, so science has gone to a lot. Science is actually not objective, and it's very often influenced by culture and prejudice and politics and so on. And so science actually does often get things really wrong and really unjust. For instance, like Thomas Jefferson, even though he wrote out like all men are created equal, but nevertheless he himself has slaves. And but actually back in the day, slavery was very essential to American economics. And so how would people reconcile like all men were created equal with slavery? Was that they appeal to science, and the science of the day was say that well, biologically black people are inferior to white people. And yeah, and then there's the so-called science of like eugenics that went on for centuries until the 20th century, and until was disproven. But once for a while it has been held to be true. And then so suppose you really do say you believe the science of the day, and then but meanwhile the Quran says like of the equality of all people and only by righteousness. And then wouldn't that conflict with the science of today if you lived in the 18th century? And yeah, those are just sort of my comments.
Yeah, I just want to say something. You said that there are no facts in science, but you do know that there are facts. Like I'm guessing you're a biologist, and you know in biology, like evolution now is a fact. Like evolution is unnegotiable, don't you think? Or do you have another idea?
Well, I mean, sort of like a theory that's strongly supported by evidence so far. But meanwhile, like okay, it's a really complicated question that I don't think I have all the answers to for like the process of science. It's because like centuries ago, like geocentrism was also held to be like a fact and was not negotiable back then until a paradigm shift with Copernicus. So I think it's actually kind of more complicated. It's more like accepted paradigm so far.
Yeah, but among scientists, evolution is not a theory; it's a fact. Natural selection.
Well, no,
is a theory.
it's actually more complicated. I rather say it's more like a paradigm that so far is the best supported by theory. And
it's called
so we don't know when there would be a paradigm shift in the future.
It's called a theory.
Go ahead. I would like to respond to Brother Muhammad. First of all, the word theory in science means a supported hypothesis that is developed, observed, and has a lot of support. It doesn't mean kind of a conjecture in common language. Okay, and yes, we have a lot of scientific facts. We know that electrons that can be used to create energy. Here is, we know that air can lift heavier elements like aeroplane. We can prove it. And we can use it. Right now, we use many scientific facts to communicate right now through here. However, there are also interpretation around the scientific facts and creating a certain together a theory of everything, or even within the theory, there are some unknown or unclarity. Therefore, it is approximation towards truth. We cannot be 100% right now sure about many of things. Right now, they are questioning everything regarding this quantum physics, and because it challenges our understanding of deterministic universe. And the scientists come up with many bizarre stories that dwarfs religious stories or fictions of any kind, like multi-universes or superimpositions or entanglement. And many of these things are very bizarre, strange, but still we are very far from knowing exact reality. But as far as the verses of the Quran, I think however you want to distort Muhammad, I think you are following the Sunni scholars when you say Musi'un. Musi'un is the Arabic, because the Arabic Musi'un, you're Arab, it is a verb that we are expanding it. But the previous tafsirs, they had problem with an expanded universe because their idea was a steady universe, not expanding. Therefore, they try to interpret this word as وَإِنَّ لَوَاسِعٌ. We have power, we have so much power stuff. But it is not. It is a verb as a it's called a transitory word. My English is not good in terms of the vocabulary of the grammar, means doing something to something. And Musi'un means we are expanding it. It's very clear. And it is elementary of Arabic knowledge.
I'm just going to say something. The word Musa.
Sorry if I'm interrupting, but I have another comment.
Okay, continue.
Suppose you were staying in the 19th century and there was no Big Bang theory. So according to this, according to this sort of interpretation, so suppose you were living in the 19th century. So would you have come up with like a Big Bang theory, or how would you interpret that verse where you're in the 19th century?
Oh, me?
Yeah, are you asking me? Are you asking me, Lambda?
Yeah.
Of course, I might have a problem with the verse. I might, if I was wiser, I would say it contradicts me with my idea of the universe or whatever. And I would say one meaning is this, but perhaps could be this one too. I would state with one understanding that I have problem, and I would say, what about this understanding? And for example, one good example, I give you another example. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. And Brother Muhammad will know this verse because he has cherry picking all the verses that they can distort. And he's influenced by those people. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. We made the earth after this egg-shaped. We made it like egg. And the word dahya still is used by Arabs in Northern Africa, because if you study linguistics, you will see sometimes the later learner of the language preserves some of the words or in original shape than the native speakers. There are many examples of that. And with the word dahya means egg. Dahaha, make it like egg, egg-shaped. It is a verb made out of the egg. Now, the past mufassirs, means the translators or interpreter of the Quran, they had problem with this. And I read one of the translators says, yeah, it means made it like egg, but it doesn't make sense. The earth is flat. Therefore, from this, it must be a metaphor meant the earth make it like the place of the egg. Therefore, from egg, it really means the nest. Therefore, it made the earth as smooth as nest. Even now, there are flat earthers. They try to distort some of the verses of the Quran. They ignore many verses of the Quran about roundness of the earth. For example, the Quran describes the rotation of the night and day, not about the rotation of the sun, not through the rotation of the sun. It says, يُكَوِّرُ اللَّيْلَ عَلَى النَّهَارِ. God rounds like this, rolls the night over the day, rolling night over the day. The word kawara now still is used. Kura means sphere, round object. And God
sorry, Edip.
Yes. Go ahead.
Edip.
Yes. I don't mean the knowledge of Muhammad, knowledge of earth being round was not known. Yes, few people, but some good observers, some philosophers knew that the earth was round 1,000 years even before the revelation of the Quran. But it was rare. Majority of people believed that the earth was flat. But the usage, the Quran, when describes the change of night to day, talks about rolling day over the night. From the space, when you look at it, exactly it is like that. Day and night, it is rolled over a sphere. And the same dahaha, if you know it in Arabic, dahya still is used for egg. And the Quran's preferring egg to as a description of the earth is such a wonderful example, because earth not only shape was closer to the shape of the earth, and also the structure wise, there is a crust of the egg, inside there is white, and then in the middle there is yolk, spherical yolk, like magma, and in the center and the crust, under the crust, there is I forgot the lithosphere and those kind of things. And also how the egg is the source of life, the earth is also source of life, despite even the fire inside the earth is creating life. What do you say about this, Mohammed? Maybe you have some bias.
Sorry, I think he went offline.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Okay, welcome people. We have Ashikul Islam, we have Janan Kalaj. We would like to use this platform also to get to know each other, to exchange some new things that we have learned. And I would like to hear from you what you learned within a week and share with us. It could be related to any topic, but something interesting knowledge to share with us. Should we start with you, or we start with some people who haven't talked yet?
Hello?
Yes,
yeah, I've got a question. Yes, I want to talk about the Hagia Sophia.
Yes.
Yeah, in one of your videos, in one of your previous videos, you have talked about how the Hagia Sophia move was not correct. It was not something that's okay to do. But it is proven that the Hagia Sophia actually belonged to Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, who conquered it from the Byzantines. So what I think is that it belongs to the conqueror, Sultan Mehmed. So, and in his last will, he stated that he wanted the Hagia Sophia to be to remain as a mosque, not as a museum. So I don't understand why it should be wrong for Recep Tayyip Erdogan to turn it back into a mosque.
Yeah, there are multiple mistakes, errors in turning it to mosque. One is the original intention and builders of it, they were Christians. It was built by Christians, and it was original intention. And someone conquered that city. First of all, the act of conquering, attacking a city, aggressing on a city, killing its citizens, residents, and plundering and looting their wealth, and enslaving their daughters, which is they did, and then declaring these self-righteous people, or they go to heaven. First of all, Fatih Sultan Mehmed was a victim of sultanate, which was a satanic system, because it forced the sultan to kill his brothers and fathers and many people for his throne. Fatih Sultan Mehmed, or how do you say, strangled his 2-year-old brother because he was paranoid, because evil system. He was paranoid that one day this brother will grow, maybe within 15, 20 years, will take his throne, which is his idol, from him. Therefore, he was an evil person, maybe victim of an evil system. And therefore, Fatah in the Quran, it is not attacking other people's land and conquering them. And it is distorted by Umayyad scholars and hadith fabricators. The Quran talks about fatah. It is really opening in peace, certain place. The fatah of Mecca, first of all, was not the city belonged to others. Muhammad and his friends, they were born in Mecca. They were born, it was their birthplace, and they were unjustly evicted from that. Not only they were evicted from Mecca, when they went to Medina, established a fantastic exemplary community that people shared many belongings, they helped each other, they created an egalitarian, federally secular system, which there were multiple jurisdictions, people with multi-culture and multi-race, they were living in peace together. They wanted to kill them. They attacked 3 times to Medina, and they defended themselves. Meanwhile, the message spread because it was wonderful. It was against slavery, against oppression of women. It was against superstition, against of tribalism, against wars, wanted people to live as all we are created by one God, and we are all children of Adam. We are all brothers and sisters. This message found so much people, they love this message. And therefore the Meccan people lost numbers to Islam, to peacemaking. And therefore Muhammad and his friends, they decided to go back because there was any more power against them. When they entered in peace. The Quran doesn't talk about slaughtering them, killing them, just the other way around. And therefore, going back to Mecca was opening the gates of their birthplace. It was not conquering other things. During Muhammad times and afterwards, soon afterwards, but later it changed, the expansion of peacemaking was by the power of the message. It was light expanding, enlightening the darkness. While Muhammad was alive, there is a masjid built in China. They didn't kill, massacres, hundreds of thousands of people going to China. No, this is a lie. In history, you don't see that. They were in China because of the message. And the Byzantine Empire lost many of towns and cities because people in groups, they accepted peacemaking and they lost. When they attacked, of course, Muslims did not turn their right cheek when they were hit. They responded, they defended themselves. Therefore, first, the praising Fatih Sultan Mehmed and through a fabricated lie, a hadith about that Istanbul will be conquered and whoever conquers him is how he's great. This is a big lie, many hadiths, like many hadiths. And the first is that he didn't have right to conquer. Second, he didn't have the right to turn the Christians' mosque to a Sunni mosque. He didn't have the right. I don't care about this guy who murdered baby brother. I don't care about his will, trash will. In fact, if you look at it, in fact, in Istanbul was really conquered, the word conquer is wrong, by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. For 500 years, it was there because I'm not responsible of my ancestors, what they did. If I am born in this place, I have the right to be here. And therefore, Istanbul now, it belongs to Turkish, Kurdish, whatever people in that area. And then British came, invaded Istanbul. Within that generation, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, in May 1919, started the war of independence against the invaders, and Istanbul was saved from British. If you are talking about real Fatah of Istanbul, according to Islam, it was kicking out the imperialists, the bloody British from Istanbul. And then I have to look at the will of Atatürk. If you are really stuck with the will of someone who did, it was the lost, it was saved by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. And therefore, in many ways, when you look at it, it is wrong. It is based on wrong assumption. And besides, Tayyip Erdogan is a thief, It is one of the most corrupt leaders. He waved the patchy shirt of Hazrat Umar. He was saying, oh, Hazrat Umar was so just. He didn't use people's money, Baytul Mal, for his personal interest. And he would walk with patchy shirt. He was talking about this. But now he built for himself the biggest mansion palace in the world with 1,150 rooms, all furnished with the most expensive silk carpets with the gold. And this guy was not satisfied with that. Recently in Marmaris, he made another mansion with 300 rooms for himself. Now he's making another one in Ahlat. He's spending people's money on incredible, obscene extravagance for his lifestyle. His wife just in Brussels, the guy you are trying to defend, he's a thief, biggest thief and corrupt person and murderer. And what he did, his wife in Brussels several years ago in 2015, he closed the most expensive street there. The police, he has an entourage of police officers, Turkish police. And then he entered some stores, finally ended up in most expensive store, jewelry store. She purchased, I'm sorry, I said she, Tayyip Erdogan's wife. She purchased a purse, Hermes brand purse. And then after she got out, 1 hour, they blocked everything. And then it became news in Brussels and in Belgium. And then the newspaper, the journalists entered the store. They asked the guy how much was the price of the purse. And it was 49,995. I'm not sure whether it's euro or dollar. A Turkish person with minimum wage cannot make this money in his life. And she spent just on one purse, the people's money. They were not rich when they started. They had nothing. Therefore, this guy is stealing not only himself, his family, and some of his cronies, stealing the resources of the country. Now the country is incredible debt. They're about close to $1 trillion government debt, and corporations are in big debt. People are in debt. People are starving right now in Turkey. Through this Saint Sophia turning into mosque, he's basically feeding people the religious gas in order to make them, turn them to idiots. Like Marx says, religion is opium of masses. He's feeding people opium. Nothing. What is it? He's supposed the leader challenging the world. Well, Saddam Hussein challenged the world. He's not caring about his people. He cares only about himself, his power. He's 19 years in power. God willing, this will be his last year. But from outside, we have different views of this Tayyip Erdogan. He is my former friend. I know him very well when in your youth movement. We were risking our lives. We were working on the street, helping poor people and stuff. But he was always with the rich people who were collecting money that time too. And only one day he was arrested because he followed me, one of the events we had it, 300 of us. And I know him from the person. He's illiterate, he doesn't read books, he's a liar, and he's corrupt. But he uses religion, he waves holy book, like Donald Trump right now. You remember he waved holy book, a Bible, and he has evangelical.
I'm not a supporter of Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
But from outside, you may think he's a hero. No, he's not. He's a coward. He sells his people. For example, he bashes Israel. Supposedly, he's for the right of Palestinians. What he did improve the trade with Israel 3 times. Now Turkey has much better trade, both trade and military solidarity with Israel than before 2002. He's lying. In fact, he sold the martyrs they call the Marmara flotilla. 9 civilians, human rights activists were killed by Israel, bloody. It was murder. They were killed they didn't have any guns. They wanted to take some goods for the people in Gaza. and Israel killed them, murdered them, some of them young children. And what happened? He sold them for 20 million. He dismissed their lawsuit against Israel in Turkey. And many things. He talks against interest, bank interest. What he says, just what he did, just the opposite. During his reign, this government, in 19 years, banks got much more profit than before. When he took over, among the 10 big corporations in Turkey, more profitable, most 10 profitable corporations, there were 4 banks, a lot, because they are thieves, banks are robbers. But during his time, it became 7 banks. But while he's talking against whatever, he talks about human rights, about justice. Right now, Turkey has the highest number of journalists and thinkers, writers in prison, politicians in prison. He's a ruthless dictator, but from out you see, oh, he's a hero. No, Saddam Hussein was not hero. This is also stage. Let me tell you, his things about that, it is done in tandem with the United States. He is a stooge of the United States imperialism. It's called BOP, BOP project in Turkish. BOP means New Middle East project. And he was selected by the United States. He came here, he was baptized by the United States with Ahmed Gül and another one. 3 of them came here, and he's still doing that. Once you remember, he was, he abducted one of the priests in Turkey, Bronson, and he played hero. This is the priest, and he's an agent, he's a secret agent. And Donald Trump, he was playing a theater with Donald Trump for their election. Donald Trump also played that priest. We are going to save him from Turkey and stuff. Evangelicals made big brouhaha about that. And he did in Turkey. It was for domestic consumption. And later, before the election, just before the exchange, both sides manipulated that event. Anyway, I don't want to make it longer, but he is a demagogue, crook, but people who are ignorant or who are intoxicated by religion or nationalism, they fall into it. Right now, he's also waving the Turkish flag. He's doing Turkish nationalism and racism right now. It was not enough.
But the fact that he converted the museum into a mosque is not a bad thing. I mean, the Muslims can now pray there. It's one of the most beautiful structures in the world, Islamic structures.
It is, listen, empathy. If you do that, you say what they said, it is the right of our sword right. They generated this one. Okay, then Israel now occupies, conquer Qudus, Jerusalem, and they turn Masjid al-Aqsa into a synagogue. You have no right to object that one. He will use exactly the same excuse that right now you are using. It is a beautiful place for Jewish people to build. We conquered here. It is our bomb's right. Sword is passed. Right now, Tayyip Erdogan used the word sword, right of sword. Well, if power makes it, if might makes it right, then Israel will make it right. And India, right now, Modi is another demagogue and authoritarian nationalist like Tayyip Erdogan. And he took advantage of it. He converted a mosque, very old mosque, into their Indian temple, Hindu temple. And it will be. Therefore, what he did, he really gave green light to all the other countries to convert the mosques into what? Into churches, synagogues, into temples. Are you happy with that? Do you want it? In fact, there are more mosques in other countries, in so-called non-Sunni or non-Shiite countries, than mosques in Sunni countries. Therefore, you will end up converting few churches into mosques, but they will end up converting many more mosques into churches, synagogues, and temples. Are you happy with that?
No, but the Hagia Sophia is actually like, it has been an Islamic place of worship for hundreds of years. It's not like just a normal mosque. It's a historic, it has historical value.
What a historical value goes to...
it doesn't matter how long it's been created by the Christian people. It's like
Exactly.
like Edip said, it's a empathy, you know, from one of your best mosque. If someone from now 500 years later, someone comes into your country, invade your country, and then take that mosque and convert it to a church, would you be happy? Just use empathy. Just from that, you can understand what is wrong about this.
For example, Spain converted some beautiful mosques in Spain to churches. I am against that too. They do not have right for that. Okay, they took back their country, but I think at least respect for people who built that in the past, keep it for its original purpose. And they didn't do that. And you criticize that. People like you criticize Spain for doing that. Well, you are doing something that you criticize. Therefore, Muslims should be honest, should be sincere. We should not do something that we criticize when other people do. Therefore, I think consistency and matter of justice, we need to be example for that. Not doing just because they did wrong, we do wrong. No, no, no. We have to show much better behavior, my brother. Okay, Ashikul Islam, I don't want to be too harsh on you, but you are swayed by religious zeal. We should be just. Anyone would like to share some ideas? Lambda, nice to hear you again here. Lambda,
yeah. Okay,
we know each other. Yes.
I still really have burning questions about so-called scientific miracles. I'm not very comfortable with that concept. Actually, in large part because of the burning question of like so science actually does posit a lot of like unobservable things, and for instance, like the Big Bang, like things happened in the distant past when there were no humans. It's not observable. It's and also like things are very distant or like very small that are not observable. Like they can be like indirectly like inferred and so on. And but yeah, then we just came up with a lot of the entities. So the question is, do those like entities really exist? And like there have been many such entities in the past. Like there were epicycles, like there were the four humors of the body, and there were also phlogiston. And so it's like yeah, like people used to hold these things as if they were the fact, and they actually did do a pretty good job explaining the phenomena back then. But now we have like better theories that replaced those, and now we hold our current theories as if they are the facts. But like just considering the past, like we have no guarantee that in the future, like there won't be a new like very different theory that do even better job. So like like what right do we actually have to hold the current theories as if they were the fact, and then read those theories into the Quran and ask if like you discover so-called miracles? So it's like you said in the past, like say in the past with whether you say they were the flat earth theories or like or whether the constant universe, that there was no Big Bang, like or whether it was geocentrism, like the Sunni scholars try to reconcile the theories of the day with the Quran. And like how would you know that you're actually you're not actually doing exactly the same thing but with a newer theory in science, but that which might just be replaced in the future, and instead of just like you saying that the Quran just does mean this thing that the current theory supports?
I do agree with you. I think you have a valid point. And if we are carried away with and recklessly, if we do interpret the verses of the Quran to the current knowledge, and maybe in the future that will be proven to be not accurate as we thought, and therefore there is a danger of interpreting Quran to our current knowledge, correct?
Yeah, it's like people in the past have always been doing so, and now some people object to Quran because they buy into the content the past interpretations themselves instead of the process of the past interpretation. But probably we're just doing exactly the same thing as people in the past did. Like the process is the same, even though the results are different. Yeah,
I do take it with grain of salt, your criticism, not with grain of salt, with grain of sugar. I'm not as skeptic as you are, but I think there is also the risk, the danger of what you are saying, because there are certain, I think, knowledge that I think we cannot be doubtful about the truthfulness of that particular knowledge. And therefore, like sodium, when you put in water, it really reacts to it, it burns. And this is something we observe, we know about it, and we can repeat it, we can be sure about it. There are certain scientific facts. But again, even in those, there could be some misunderstandings, some inaccuracy. I don't understand. We need to be cautious about that. And also, it may not be convincing 100% people who are outsider. They may think we are just interpreting the verses, the words of the Quran, to make it be in tandem with our current understanding. And I do also, from outsider, could be seen that way. But when I think, therefore, the strongest evidence of the authenticity of the Quran is the mathematical structure of the Quran, because it is very clear, and in some becomes some obscurity with details, but it is also detailed, and also prophetic nature of it. I am much more impressed by prophecy of it, and therefore, when I look at it, I see it cannot be made by humans, because a secret, incredible structure, coded structure, was hidden for 1406 lunar years, 19 times 74 lunar years, and no one discovered it. It seems so obvious. It tells you, come on, count these letters, check these letters, Qaf, and this chapter has some letters. Be curious how many Qafs in this chapter, or the number of chapters of the Quran, and whether they're in relation, Basmala, the letters of Basmala. But especially, I think the Huruf Muqatta that initialize 29 chapters, it's just blinking at you, winking at you, say, come, be curious. And they got curious about it, but none of them even thought about counting those letters in that chapter. It appears to be the first thing you should do, to find whether any relationship of the frequency of that letter in that initial letter in the chapter. But that was not done until 1969, and the relation with 19 was not discovered until 1974, which is prophetic, because 19 was hidden in chapter 74, what is known as the hidden one, the secret. And the secret was hidden there in chapter 74. The secret was 19, the meaning of 19, and it was unveiled in 1974, exactly 19 times 74 lunar years after its revelation, by a guy who is a rational monotheist, a decent guy, and whose name, all the derivatives of his name mentioned in the Quran exactly 19 times. And the first statement of that chapter has 19 letters, and the value of those, numerical value of those letters, is exactly 1974. And then the function of 19, the role, the purpose of 19 is mentioned just after the 19, alayha tis'ata ashar, 74 verse 30. And then we see it is exactly, it is happening. And there are many other verses of the Quran came into, now we know their meaning and their implication, all fulfilled at this time, 14 centuries after revelation. Therefore, it cannot be a human made, because...
Well, I mean, like, I'm not criticizing the mathematical structure. Why means just that I just said why I'm not convinced by, why I'm not a fan of so-called scientific miracles.
But this is not, this is mathematical. And I think that you may you may have doubt about our scientific enterprise, which there is a healthy dose of doubt. Every scientist will not be arrogant to say this is exactly must be like this. They always say we are approximating towards the truth. Especially
well, I mean,
now,
like, even during this pandemic, like the scientists have got things wrong a few times, and but then try to correct it, and it's then some people, just because of that doubt science has any value, but that's just the process, and it's a self-correcting process.
But this is mathematics. Mathematics, I cannot doubt it, because mathematics and logic are the same, intertwined.
Well, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about like reading the so-called scientific facts into the Quran. That's what I'm talking about, not the mathematical thing.
Okay. And by the way, Lambda, what are you doing right now? Are you working on cells?
No, I don't do experiments anymore. I mainly analyze genomics data. Like actually, it's in particular like so you have the genome. There are over 20,000 genes in your genome, and then so it's in DNA, and for the genes to be expressed, it has to be transcribed into RNA first, and yeah, then the RNA is then translated into proteins. So what I do is like I analyze the data that quantify the RNA transcripts to which can quantify the how much each gene in the genome is expressed. And actually these days this can be done each cell in the tissue, and then actually not only for individual cells in the tissue, but also within the space, like in the microscope slide, and so know like where each cell is and how much the cell is expressed in each of like many genes. Like I analyze data.
Are you doing CRISP? Was it CRISP the word?
CRISPR? No, I'm not doing that. I don't do experiments anymore. I just analyze data.
Okay. And how many years left for your PhD?
So by the end of September, when school starts, I'll be 4th year. So yeah, I think maybe there are 2 more years.
Inshallah. And okay, anyone else would like, Janan, share with us something that you learned?
I have a question to Lambda, since you are in genomics. And you said that, the genomes convert to proteins and basically probably responsible for how we are built. It's all a function inside a chromosome, how and when certain cells has to be produced. And so in light of religion, is there any requirement that there should be some sort of energy that comes into role when a sperm and egg meets up? Is this or does it happen just automatically from the energy it gets from the mother cells? Because an essence of religion is when we say that, hey, there is a soul in everything, there's a spirit, that, and maybe Edip can clarify that there is a verse which says that there is a spirit that's breath to humans. I don't know if it happens evolutionary years and years ago, or it happens on every individual human being. So maybe you both guys can share your scientific and religious views to clarify that.
Well, actually, I don't think you're asking a scientific question. You're asking a metaphysical question. So actually in science, we actually do try to explain things within the created order, or which we call nature. So because so like the currency of energy in the cells, ATP. So an ATP, it means adenosine triphosphate, and so it's like a adenosine attached to 3 phosphates, and then so once you get rid of one of the phosphates, and then it releases energy. That's that's the currency of energy in the cell. So that's the sort of explanations we have in here. But yeah, it's like we do try to explain phenomena within the natural order, because like things within natural order are also like so we can make predictions about observations, and then we can test our hypotheses about like with those predictions to see if it's right. And also like things within the natural order are amenable to experimental Yeah, but meanwhile, I think okay, it's actually a pretty big question. I think probably you're really asking about like how God acts in the world, but honestly, I don't really think I can give a very good answer about that. Like, yeah, actually I know many theories about that, so I'm not entirely sure which one's correct. So
may I enter?
Yeah.
This is Azma's question. It is, first of all, the idea whether we have a soul, and you know, it's called dualism, Cartesian dualism. But of course, it existed, the idea, before Descartes, but Descartes focused on it and added some arguments into that. There is at least two ways of looking at a human being, whether we are made of only material things, body, or we are body plus mind, and mind is different essence than the body. Mind is metaphysical, body is physical. And of course, the third one would be mind is the function of the body, not independent of the body. And this has been an argument, philosophical argument since the beginning and still continues. I give an example of this, I made a beautiful example to explain this. Just very briefly, say you are in an island, you belong to a tribe that isolated from modern civilization. You are still living in a cave age. You don't have really tools, any modern devices. And then you see once in a month, a big bird is flying. In fact, makes some sound also, noise. And you are smart enough, of course, humans have been having this intelligence since millenniums. The people 2,000, 3,000 years ago, they were not less smarter than us. We have just accumulated more knowledge. And they look at it, they see, well, it is above the clouds. The further things they know, it appears to be smaller. Therefore, they know it is a big, in fact, they have an approximate size of that bird. It must be the biggest animal in the world. They call it big bird. It is an aeroplane flying over there, but they have no idea. And when it comes once a month, they create some mythology about, some stories about that. They even started worshiping that. The big bird is passing. And one day they see again bird coming, the whole tribe people, they are there to watch this bird. God is going above their island, and they may have created many rituals and stuff about that. And the first time they see from the big birds, there is big egg falling. Oh my God, they are all excited and very also with anticipation what is going on. And the big egg, colorful egg, it is a parachute. And of course they don't know, they have no idea what is parachute. This egg comes down slowly, they find out this is half egg, not full egg. It's very strange. And there is a package, something there. And then it lands on trees, and then they are scared. Cautiously they go close, and the bravest one is able to touch this silk and stuff, finds out it is not dangerous, and they get this box. They open the box, and they play with the box, and then suddenly it starts singing a song, a music. And then, of course, they throw on the grass, and they are scared. And the magician says, well, there is ghost in it. There's ghost in it. And there is a skeptic. Ghost is the one who says, ghost is Azmat, is you. Said there's spirits, soul coming into it. And the other skeptic who is materialist, who doesn't like this magician, he thinks magician is full of BS, doesn't like him, says, nope, there is no spirits coming to it. Everything is inside it. You know, cricket make noise. Their legs, they kind of rub to each other, make this noise. Inside there is something makes that noise. And now imagine they are debating on this. Now town people, mostly on magician side, because it makes just create a word to explain something. That word has no really meaning. The other one tried to explain it, but doesn't have really evidence for that. Now, you cannot really come up with a way to prove which one is right. Whether it is a radio, the soul broadcasting coming into it, or whether it is an MP3 player, everything is contained inside. The music is generated through the structure, the composition of it. One is materialistic idea of the human, means there is no spirits, metaphysical things in us. Everything is body, is mind, it is made of cells and DNA, all these things making. The other one says, nope, body is not enough. Now let's say they play with button, they turn it off. Well, the magician will say that one stop the soul, come to here. It closed the gate to the soul. The other way say, nope, it really changed the mechanism inside. Therefore, for them, they will not be able to understand. Even they take to the cave, and then inside the cave, it may not receive broadcast. The materialist will say, the magician will say, you see, here stop, because the spirits doesn't come to this cave. They are scared of this cave, or they don't like this cave. Well, the other could say, no, maybe the humidity or the darkness or something else, or there is certain material here affected the working inside. Therefore, both of them will have an argument for their position. I bet, I am challenging everyone, putting yourself in their shoes. They didn't have shoes, let's say, in their sandals, you would not be able to know whether. The same right now, we are not sure whether we are a radio device or we are MP3 player. We cannot prove it. However, I reject the idea, I don't really subscribe the idea of Greek theory of spirits. And you are using that one. It is not really Quranic. My idea of spirit is this. All of us made of similar ingredients, the same ingredients. In our body, we have carbon, we have hydrogen, we have oxygen, correct? We have nitrogen, we have other elements. And then imagine we are all basically separated to our ingredients, put on a table. This many pounds, I am heavy, this many pounds of iron, iron is like few grams. This many pounds of this material is me and you. Mix them, well, nothing. What makes those ingredients become Edip or become Lambda, become Janan, become Aidar is the organization, the information that put them together in a particular order. The atoms put in a particular order made molecules, and put those molecules in particular order made DNA like adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, and then put this genetic code in particular order, and then made organs, put organs in particular order, created human. And therefore we are what? We are matter, atoms, the organization of atoms plus information, basically. We are atoms plus information. And what is information? Imagine a computer program is made of 1 and 0s, means circuit on and off. That's it, on and off. But if you jumble it, you mess it up. The program will not work if you switch the order of 0s and 1s. The very order is something, but what is order? Does it have mass? Does it have independent existence? Is it an essence? It's very interesting. If we make a computer, two ways we give order. We put information, ruh, or ruh, into the computer. One is in its hardware, we put the atoms and the molecules in order. We create the hardware. And also we put information into the action of the electrons of the atoms, the orderly, and that create software. And both of them got ruh from us, information from us. That information is very interesting. It is secret for me, because without that information, there wouldn't be computer, there wouldn't be function, there wouldn't be you. But information is not spirit. We know what is information, but also we don't know what is information. It is, as the Quran says, it is God's knowledge. We are given a little bit. Therefore, all the life on earth, all the organized things on earth is by God. Even the structure of atoms follows information. I don't know whether I was able to explain with my broken English, but therefore, to me, ruh is the information given to us. Therefore, we are all born with 19 rules of logic, 19 rules of inference. It is God given to us. This is the most important information given to us that distinguish humans from other creatures. We have powerful logic rules like modus ponens, modus tollens, hypothetical syllogism, disjunctive syllogism, tautology, and a few 10 rules, 9 rules, and then 10 rules of replacement, total exactly 19 rules. And what is it? What is the essence of it? How it works? How information change the matter? How make it behave this way, that way? To me, it is a secret. And I don't, so far, I haven't seen anyone really explain it this way. Why a particular order must function this way, what a particular order will be called disorder. It is determined in the beginning. Therefore, a living cell, the order of the atoms that create a first living cell, that information existed in the Big Bang. That these particular molecules in this particular amount, in this particular order will come together. When they come together in this way, it will act as a living cell. It will start multiplying and generate energy and stuff. That knowledge existed before that cell happened. Therefore, it is not a coincidence. It was already programmed in the beginning of the universe. That was the fulfillment of that knowledge, that information.
So
yeah, I know that. Yes.
Thanks, Edip. That was a beautiful explanation. So what you're saying is that the information could be coded in each and every individual before their birth, like it's right there.
From factory, we are born with ruh, and in hardware, in software. Software is in the structure of dendrites, neurons in our brain. And then with time, we get information from outside from birth on, and then use this information through something secret is another, whether we have free choice is another argument. And then we create our own computer. Let's say every of us given a certain computer, we all come with the same genetic code as a human genetic code with some variations. And then in our computer, we create audio programs, video programs, data, and then you become different than me. This computer become different than the other. And that is nafs. We create through our consciousness, we create our personality. We improve our personality, or we distort our personality by accepting, opening up for viruses, for bad programs, for bad pictures. And therefore, originally we are coming with body and information from God. And with time, through our free choices or our experiences, we create adjustments in our computer, preferences, good or bad preferences, some addictions in our computers, some automatic tasks, addictions and stuff. And that way, that computers start becoming different. And therefore, some computers that started accepting viruses and bad pictures and evil, bloody, gory stuff, and those computers, the information will not go back to God. That will be destroyed in God's book, because every time this is in this called cloud, in God's cloud, in Kitab, we are at the same time our person that makes up person, that information, plus data, that plus settings that we pick, it is uploaded there, a copy of it. And in the day of judgment, it will be meshed with another body, whereas in nufusu zuwijat, when it is paired. And that information will put in another body, and then God will pick those ones who created better computer, better data. And he has given us the innate knowledge, what is bad, what is good. Therefore, they will be eternal, the other will be destroyed. They will forever be destroyed. Yes?
So what you think is ruh is actually information, right?
Originally information from God, which is logic. Ruh is logic.
So probably the Holy Spirit is also some kind of knowledge, information, right?
Extra information we may get, and that is improvement like data coming to your computer and message or reminder. The Quran calls it reminder because we have the innate ability to discover truth, to distinguish falsehood from truth, to using our mind properly. But through viruses like prejudices, like dogmas, unquestioned things, we cover our logic system. We create fallacies, logical fallacies, and we become biased with prejudice, confirmation bias, and other things. Therefore, we distort reality, God's reality. We start fighting against God's reality, against truth, because of true free will in code. It is a matter of debate, whether we have it or not. Through that, we may distort this ruh and create a bad personality. Therefore, God says, do not do zulm to your person. Do not hurt your person through bad deeds, bad choices. Yes, Hijran.
I have a question about it, about your last verses. So I wanna ask you this question. And do you believe that Islam is peaceful, religious, and equal, and accept and also defend equality? But the some verses in the Quran, I'm sorry, I didn't take note the verses, but you can explain it, it's very easily. So, for example, about the gay community, the same gender, sex is a sin. Is it true? Yeah. We are not, the Islam says it's unacceptable. So even Quran has some verses and completely reject the same gender married or sex, whatever. Also, my second point about the Islam, again, about the polygamy. It's multi wives. So as we know that they are not, the Islam is not against to have more than one wives, but as we know, many disease also can transfer from the woman and woman. We know this is not good. Even it's not. I want to ask this question because I received this question from the Christianity. My friends who is a Christian, who is a Jewish, they are some of missionaries, some of my Jewish friends. They are secular. They are not like strict or orthodox. They most of them unorthodox, but also some verses like Allah has cursed them and on account of their unbelief. So do you believe Islam represent discrimination about the woman, about the gay community, about the Jewish people? Thank you.
Good. Beautiful questions, and each of them really worth discussing. And this question, a lot of them comes from distortions made by Sunni and Shiite scholars and religious peoples. And the first about being gay. The norm, according to the Quran, God created male and female for reproduction, and that's the norm. And being gay is an anomaly. Like being blind is an anomaly. Having 6 fingers is an anomaly. According to the Quran, it is an anomaly. However, that anomaly itself is not condemned in the Quran. It is an anomaly. We should not be aspiring to that. We should aspire to be norm. That is the norm. That makes sense. And but the condemnation is about when there is a part, and of course it is we have so many, not condemnation, there are so many criticism of many behaviors in the Quran, many things, and they are selected, the homosexuals are kind of very highly exaggerated their thing. And the people of Lot, they were aggressors. They were not only homosexuals, but they were raping people. They were very aggressive, harassing people, because the scene in the Quran is they were coming and they were aggressing. Therefore, it is the aggression based on that particular anomaly or choice, whatever it is the one. Therefore, though it is not, it is their choice, as long as the Quran punishes zina. Zina is betraying the marriage covenant, and it is that betrayal can hurt the other partner psychologically, financially, socially, and also health-wise, correct? Medically, the transmission, all the things. Therefore, and also I wanted to distinguish between Iman and Islam. I think you are confusing like many other. The Quran discriminates. Iman, ya ayyuhal mu'minun, the Quran refers to mu'min, those who trust God, one God, rational monotheist. And the other, Islam, Islam is secular. Islam is a system that must be in the world, dominant in the world. It is peacemaking. And you are confusing that. Therefore, the verses says, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, these are like about our conception, moral conception of homosexuality, or the few other things in the Quran. It is involving believers. For example, the punishment of zina, adultery of married people, is for believers. It is not, you are not going to apply that one to someone who doesn't acknowledge the Quran. You cannot. It is forcing your belief on them. But Islam means coming together, having a social contract to live in peace, respecting each other's differences in terms of law, in terms of things, creating a constitution. Within that constitution, you have your own laws, we have our own laws. It's like in the United States, there are it's federal system. States might have different criminal laws. In some states, marijuana is prohibited, in some others may not. And it is their choices, respecting people's wishes. And as far as the second question, what was the second one?
Second one is about the polygamy. Third one is about
polygamy is in the Quran is a solution for an exigent circumstance. It is not a norm. In fact, it is discouraged. God says you cannot justly treat more than one woman. You should marry one woman. However, because of exigent circumstances, when many men were killed, and in that context, and the Quran allows men to marry widows with orphans to protect orphans. And, you know, in Medina, they were attacked multiple times. Many men were killed, many orphans around, and there are many verses about protecting orphans and both psychologically providing a father figure for them and also protecting their inheritance. And therefore, marrying their mother was in one way to provide protection to the women and the orphans, because it was a little bit Wild West. There were other people, in the things, they would be harassed, they would be taken advantage of it. And it is with that condition alone. If you look at the verses in chapter 4, it is about orphans' right and marrying the woman, and then again protecting orphans again. It is about marrying mothers of the orphans, widows. And I see it as really as a social, economic, psychological, helping each other when they were under attack, when so many men were killed. What is the third thing?
So the third question is, some verses, you know, also discriminate to Jewish people. Like verses says Allah has curses them on them of their unbelief.
It is all contextual. First of all, there is the praises of the Beni Israel in the Quran. God has chosen you. As an example, many prophets came from children of Israel. Yeah. And God did not curse Jesus or Moses or Jacob or stuff, just the other way. In them, there are good examples, God says. Therefore, it is nothing, it was universal racist statement. It is about particular group and they are doing wrong, and it is about them. And in fact, there are similar verses in the Old Testament, strong criticism of Jewish people by prophets. If you look at those verses, you will say, wow, it is anti-Semitic. And I will find many, many more verses, but it is not. Yeah. It is criticism of a population. Sometimes they kill, they become very arrogant, they become things, majority of them, not all of them, or some of them, part of them. It is about a particular group. And I do believe Jewish people, we say it is Beni Israel, is chosen by God for a test. And they are given blessings, and they have been done great things and very bad things too at the same time. And I think in that regard, the Jewish people objectively look at it. Throughout history, they are a small group, but they have produced the best example of humanity, and one of the worst examples too. And therefore, it's good. It is not about racism. It's about, I think they are genetically also through, unfortunately, massacres and genocides in their history. They are also pruned. They become stronger genes. And therefore, look at the scientists in the world. And it is very disproportional to their population, the Jewish population. And more scientists and philosophers came from Jewish people. Yeah. And very great people. For example, Bernie Sanders was my favorite politicians in American history. I have been here 30 years, and he was the only politician that really moved me, that I really wanted him to become president. And he is a Jewish person. He has courage, empathy, and very good traits.
Yeah, by the way, I think also like there's some criticisms in the Quran about like Jewish and Christians, and yeah, I think yeah, sure, those should be read in their context, but meanwhile, I also think those can be some interpreted as like a warnings to Muslims for actually these days Muslims are doing exactly that.
And similar verse is about Arabs. In fact, they deliberately mistranslate that verse. Look at the translations of the Quran, they deliberately mistranslate the word Arabs into Bedouins. In fact, the Quran says, Al-Arabu ashaddu kufran wa nifaqa. Arabs, it is about particular group of Arabs in that time. There is an exception made few verses later, except those who acknowledge, who do good deeds. But over there, majority of Arabs is criticized for being ashaddu kufran wa nifaqa. They are the worst ingrates and the worst hypocrites. Al-Arab. But they translate Arab means Arab. Al-Arab, af'al, is plural of Arabs. In fact, Bedouins means Al-Arabu fil Budwa. It is mentioned with two words. Means the Bedouins means the Arabs who are moving from one place to another, Bedouins, or desert Arabs. But Arab by itself, it means Arabs. Look at the translation of the Quran. I don't know which verses it. Can anyone find it? Haidar, can you check which verse is it? It's chapter 8 or chapter 9? Al-Arab.
Arabs?
Arabs, yeah, check my translation, Quranics.org.
One moment.
Yeah, let's check that verse. And
it's 997.
997. And look at the translations. Chapter 9, Bara'ah, 97. And you will see they mistranslated. It is because Arab nationalism after Prophet Muhammad became dominant during Umayyad, and they fabricated many hadiths to make an Arabic language as better than other languages. And even they promoted Quraysh. They fabricated a hadith saying leadership is the right of the Quraysh tribe, which 100% contradicts or 180% opposite of what Quran says in chapter 49, verse 13, and many other verses. And they made even the language of heaven Arabic. They even thought they teach people that God is an Arab God. His name, he has proper name called Allah. In fact, Allah means El-Ilah, means the God. El-Ilah, the God. In Arabic, Allah, in English, God or the God, in Turkish, Tanrı, in Persian, Kurdish, Khuda. That's it, it refers, or God is not an Arab, doesn't have an Arabic name, or God is not vibration, fuel, sound coming out our mouth, or wiggly, doodling lines, but in their mind, they don't appreciate God, and God is an Arabic word. They reduce God to an Arabic word, unfortunately. But God is beyond our comprehension. We are given some attributes of God. It is infinite. We cannot comprehend infinity, but to give us an idea about God according to our relation with God. If God communicated, sent messengers to fish, the messenger would tell fish, God is the God of all G's, the God of oceans and stuff. Correct? We are humans, and according to our needs and interests or our capability, some attributes of God's is mentioned, and they're all universal best attributes, with the exception of few with exception exclusively belong to the Creator. The rest of it is ideal. They are ideals for us to reach, like truth. We need to search truth, to serve truth alone. God is the truth. God is peace, salam. We need to attain, to always search for peace in the world. And there are many, most of the attributes of God are basically ideal principles for us to reach. Did you, okay. Did you find other translators? Check Yusuf Ali or others, see how they translate.
Everybody translate in Bedouins.
Bedouins. They deliberately hide Arabs because there is a criticism of Arabs there. It is really...
Arabs pay money so that they are doing their work.
Yeah, and in Quran reformist translations, I provide arguments, I refute their translations or mistranslations. And yeah. Anyone else would like to share with us what you learned, what you have? Greg, you are quiet from Philly.
Hello.
Greg, are you sleeping here?
Edip, thank you very much for this explanation with computer and the human.
Yeah, it is. We are very similar. Listen, we are creating computers is really similar to us. God created us not in his image, but in a way that he describes in the Quran is so similar. Therefore, with our own creation, we know we can understand ourselves too. And we are very similar to computer. We have software in us, innate software, system program, we are born with it. And we have also hardware, but later we add other application program, we make it, we create visual or audio data and other things and create our personality different. And therefore we need to keep our computer clean and add some beautiful stuff in our computers, beautiful information, beautiful pictures. And this way, then we will be, God willing, how do you say, attain. Yes.
No, don't forget, we also, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. Another question, you told about Kitab, and I met so many Muslims here and they have no idea about this Kitab. Maybe, do you have time to write an article about it that we can?
Yeah, that would be nice. Inshallah, I would like to write an article on this issue. In fact, I have written some articles. I don't know whether all they are together. I need to upload them to 19.org. For a while, I haven't uploaded anything. And but I really highly recommend that. I know someone recommending his own book is not looked upon very well, but I don't care about them because I put so much energy and effort, and I think it is very good book. 19 questions for atheists in Turkish, but I have 10 questions right now translated into English. 10 questions for atheists. Even if you are deist or agnostic, it is very important to look at those arguments that I have. I think it refutes atheism, and I do believe atheism is a bankrupt philosophy. It's not even philosophy. I consider it as very false idea. Doesn't make any sense, doesn't have any evidence. And that's important.
But Edip, there is a misunderstanding about religions. What is religion? Because this Kitab is in everyone. It doesn't matter if they are Jewish, Christ, or atheist. Maybe it will help the people to understand why do we use the word religion and separate each other and fighting each other.
I am against religion. In fact, the use of religion is wrong. I'm not a religious person because religion means you believe something without reason.
Yes.
And you see, they believe every nonsense, and then not only believe nonsense, very also harmful ideas, and do all stupid ritual stuff, and then they make it the top above everything, the highest truth, and without a shred of evidence. When you ask them, hello, you believe all these things? Yeah. Why do you believe it? Well, I believe so because I closed my eyes, I decided to believe. And therefore, because I decided to believe for no reason, it becomes truth. Therefore, I go to heaven. And you better accept this. This is the most ridiculous stuff ever. But all religious people, from Sunnis, Shiites to Catholics, Protestants to Hindus, they use this stupid, it's not reasoning, because it really defies reason. It says, and glorifies belief. Belief means accepting some highest principles, ideas, without shred of evidence. In fact, what they claim are extraordinary claims and requires extraordinary evidence. They do not even provide ordinary evidence. Forget about, let alone extraordinary evidence. To me, it is amazing. Therefore, they each become very dogmatic and then schizophrenic. Religious people are I don't mean I ask forgiveness from schizophrenia in different way. I mean they have bifurcated multiple personalities. In one way, they are reasonable people while they are working, and they are engineer, or they are technicians, or they are teachers. Very good. But when it comes to religion, when they go to synagogue, to mosque, to church, to any temple, they leave their brain by the door, and they listen to every nonsense the clergyman tells them, and they believe in it, they accept it, and they put the highest on top of their brain, the highest holy things, and they can die for that. This is the most bizarre thing ever. Therefore, Islam really means system. It is secular, people come together through consultation, through realization there is one creator, we are all Homo sapiens, we need to live in peace rather than killing each other. This is Islam. As far as of Iman, it doesn't mean belief in today's language. Iman means trusting based on truth and evidence, on facts, on proof, on evidence. Therefore, the Quran says, bring your burhan, your evidence, bring your hujjah, your argument. Hujjah means argument. Bring your proof, evidence, which is ayah. These are all throughout the Quran. Says, do not follow anything blindly. Your mind, your heart, your ears are responsible what you are following. And always question your dogmas, your ancestors. And therefore, Iman means trusting based on evidence. You cannot trust those people who say, I believe in this. They do not really, if they have, let's say, a bag of money or jewelry, they have their family's whole saving, and they need to go somewhere, but they don't allow that one. They need to enter, let's say, a certain security gate to go take care of a document and bring it. And by the door, they just, a random guy, they will not say, here is, hold it for me. I'm going in, coming out 1 hour. Please keep it for me. I have my whole savings here. No. But for their eternal life, supposedly, they trust to any idiot in their proximity who tells them any story. Without any question, they trust their eternal life to them. Therefore, it shows really they do not really trust in eternal life. They do not know. It's all big lie.
Yes. And Edip, our peacemaker work must be in this way, because our subject is not who is good, who is bad. This misunderstanding what is Islam and what is the meaning of the belief, the faith, do you know? And this is our, I hope we will do about next meeting, we speak about that.
I want to clarify something. Though I am very critical of dogmas, I think I keep quoting that guy. He was an astrophysicist, I think American astrophysicist, an atheist or agnostic. He said there are good people and bad people, but it takes religion to turn good people to bad people. I changed the word religion to dogmas. It could be ideological dogmas, means unquestioned assumptions, principles. It could be like Stalin or Pol Pot. They had dogmas. They killed Mao, killed many people. They were not religious, but at the same time, they were religious dogmas. And people killed each other because of those during Crusades or during Umayyad and Abbasid empires, correct? And therefore, I am critical of dogmas because I do believe dogmas create hostility and division, because takes humans out of rational realm. We are all common, our common language is reason, logic. That's it, our common language. And the common language of the universe is mathematics, and logic is in harmony with mathematics. And therefore, with that language, we are able to create the best society, that we will create the ultimate happiness for all of us, share our blessing with each other, live in peace. But while I am criticizing dogmas, I never promote injustice, violence, or anything against people with dogmas. Yes, they got problem, they got virus in their brains. We will discuss this without a sense of accommodating them because they are fighting against truth with dogmas. But this is philosophical, theological realm. I will discuss, debate this without any compromise. However, regarding living together in this world, I will embrace them as my beautiful neighbors, and I will treat them equal to any other person. Therefore, we are in society, in how we deal with each other. We must deal with each other with justice, and our goal is to live in peace. And therefore, Christians, Jews, Sunnis, Hindus, though I believe that you are infected with virus, but as long as we have free debate, your virus will be less contagious, because if there is light, the darkness, if there is kind of light, viruses and germs will not be as active. But we will try to live together in peace. Yeah, therefore, one is Islam, one is Iman. In Iman, we'll debate, we'll discuss. Okay, thank you, Aydar. The Quran is interesting. Whose book is this?
I say hello, everybody. I must left the meeting. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you, Janan. I wish that I heard you more, and you are so demure and quiet, and I feel bad when I talk so much. I take your time.
No. It
Next
was a
time,
pleasure
please
to hear you.
share your experience with us. You are a wonderful activist there in Germany, in Köln, and I know you go around the world, invite people to peace and monotheism, and inshallah see you next time. Share with us some of your experiences. I want you to have the panel to the centers of the speech, okay?
With pleasure.
Please let me know. Let me know when you are ready.
Yes.
Peace.
And bye.
Bye.
Professor, can I ask a question?
Who is this?
Ashikul.
Ashikul Islam. Call me Edip. Call me Edip because I don't want to be called professor stuff. We should be equal here. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Edip, so you mentioned previously in one of your videos where you are debating with a random Pakistani guy at the airport that consuming the flesh of beasts is permissible in Islam. Like if you eat the tiger flesh or lion, everything is fine. But why is it okay when some of this is actually poisonous? Some of their meat are poisonous. They can be bad for you.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it as. I said if it is carcass, if it is dead, you found dead, you should not eat. The Quran
no,
says
not that, like tiger meat and lion or any beast is fine.
Oh, means let's say hunted. It's not good to hunt them, but it is hunted and eaten, like the meat of them while they are hunted, not kind of they are carcass kind of. What is it? I don't understand what you say.
When, is it permissible to consume the flesh of those animals that are poisonous, like the
how
insects?
Poisonous?
And,
Oh. Well, I don't know. The lion and stuff, they are not poisonous, but you say there could be harmful insects, whether you eat their meat and stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Well, you may not eat it. Absolutely, you should not. But you cannot use God's name, prohibit them. And you may not like something, or you may find something harmful for you. Maybe you have allergy towards some fruits and some food. Some people have allergy towards wheat. They said, therefore it can kill me, poisonous. Therefore God prohibited for all humans. No. And the issue is simple. You may not like it, and you should, maybe for your personal reason, you should prohibit yourself. For example, sugar, I should not consume, or someone maybe who is heavy like me, or maybe have diabetes, should not consume sugar. A sugar for that person is poison. But if that person says, well, sugar is not good, therefore God said sugar is haram, and in the name of God, create a universal prohibition about something, and that person aggress his situation, and we should not do that. That's the test. The Quran very strongly criticized those religious scholars who attribute lists of prohibitions to God falsely. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. It's something we may not like it. You may prohibit for yourself, no problem. In fact, there are the verse in the Quran talks about, I think, Yaqub or Ishaq prohibited something for himself as a person, no problem. But you cannot universalize for all other people in the name of God. And there are many beautiful things, unfortunately, prohibited by religious scholars who put themselves in the position of God, like music. They prohibited music, chess, and many also proteins, food, even like shrimp. In some mazahib, it is prohibited. Why?
In Hanafi fiqh is prohibited.
Huh?
I used to also believe that shrimps were unlawful to consume.
Yeah, you may not like it, you may not eat it. For example, I don't like to eat crab or some lobster. It just looks ugly for me, too much kind of, I'm not used to it since childhood. But if I come out and says, because I don't like it, therefore God said, or Prophet Muhammad said, this is prohibited to you. Is it okay? No. That's the argument. You're welcome. For example, let me say you how it is cultural. Some people are disgusted from consuming meat, and some people selectively consume meat, but some population, they eat even worms. So you see Chinese people, they eat worms. They find protein there. Well, that's fine. If they eat it, they get protein, they are not poisoned, it is their choice. Then in the name of God, you cannot prohibit for them that source of protein for them. Perhaps they they experienced starvation in their history long, and then they broke that barrier. They start consuming the worms, and then with time, it became their cuisine. They got used to it. It's a matter of taste. Pepper, initially, you don't like it. It really burns your mouth out. Or coffee, bad taste. But with time, we develop certain taste for that. Okay. Anyone else? I will close it in 5 minutes, inshallah. Anyone would like to have share some ideas?
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question for panel. Hi, it's Mustafa.
Where are you from?
London.
Okay.
I've got a question for panel. We say that we are all equal. We say like racial equality, you know, the black persons are equal to the white person. We say we are equal, I don't know, sexual equality, women are equal to the men. We are equal, rich people equal to the poor people. I don't know, the religious equality, everyone is equal. As a human base, we are equal for whichever way you look at it. So we all say that, and I hope everyone in the panel agrees to that. So my question to the panel is, why we are equal, or why should we be equal? What's the reason for the equality? Just open question to the panel.
Yeah, equality, go ahead. If anyone would like to answer, go ahead, please. Okay, no answer. Then I can just briefly say, because that's, we are Homo sapiens. If we, I'm trying to kind of rationally defend equality. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Not theologically. Theologically, it's obvious in chapter 49, verse 13, and many other verses, that we are all children of Adam. We should not discriminate against each other based on race and stuff, or sex or gender, very clear. But as far as rational basis of it, we are Homo sapiens, we are alike. If we start discriminating against some people because of their color or because of their language, we find out it's a slippery slope. We'll end up, there are difficulties in determining, for example, there are people who are half white, half black, and the culture can be mixed up. And therefore we find out we are all in danger. And because there is no really categorical differentiation. It is all a matter of quantitative. And therefore we end up, for our own safety and security, we need to accept all humans as equal, because the moment when we start discriminating, this discrimination will go slippery slope, will be also discriminated against, and then we'll have also a hard time to define a group of black, because there are some people who are quarter black or half black, and who are they? And therefore it is not, I do think it is practically having problems with that. And therefore these practical problems and the consequences also of those discrimination lead humans to rationally reject the idea of discrimination based on race or ethnicity.
Can I just have a sort of a different take or different about my
Go ahead.
idea?
Go ahead.
We don't have any input to what we born, like i.e., for instance, whether we born as a man or woman. We got no input. We got no input about the decisions. And similarly, we can be born to maybe, I don't know, rich people or poor people. We got no input. We can be I might be born in, I don't know, Germany. I'll become a German, or I might become a Chinese. I got no input. And what I have an input, if maybe I may just work very hard and then I may become a rich or something else, or maybe study very hard and I become a professor on some subject, then it is my input in a certain degree to become and get something, but I got no input becoming a certain person, whether woman, man, white, black, this tribe, that tribe, that culture, So we should be all, some people will say there's a chance, it's just chance happen, I'm born to that family or black. Some people will say it's a God decision, God made us born in that way. They're all same, it doesn't matter. But the actual thing is we got no input, and we should be humble, and we should treat everyone equal.
But beautiful, I think it is good, but not 100%. I see a problem with that reasoning too, that reasoning alone.
And it's not just alone, it's just like a different take. Like,
yes, one of the beautiful different takes, but with the same reason, which I say, we didn't define ourselves as a human being. We could have come as a lizard or a mosquito or a germ, and therefore all are equal. And therefore, then we will have mosquitoes' rights, germs' rights, germs. Do you understand? Because
we should also respect those animals, the animals and those creatures' right in their own term.
I know, but we are creating self-term. We eat fish, we eat vegetables, lettuce. We don't say I could have come as a lettuce. Why I'm eating lettuce? Correct? Or tomato or grape, and therefore I think the idea it is good to be humble, and I think you are right. We should also show respect to, as much as respect to other beings around us, the planet Earth, the things. We should not overconsume. We should not kill them for just fun, maybe for survival.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, you have to agree certain things are for consumption. The fruit, vegetable, animals, certain things.
Therefore,
but you respect and you know you.
Therefore, you say it is always good. The ultimate goal is to live in peace with everything. But if in case for our survival we need to kill something that would kill us, that's the only time is okay. But we should have a world living in peace with mosquitoes and germs too, if we can live together. Correct?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. In fact, I came against you, but I think with that look, paradigm, we become much more peaceful, not only with other humans, also with animals, with plants, with whole planet Earth. That is beautiful philosophy. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. I would like to leave. And I need to spend some time with my wife. Today is Saturday. Too much time. Peace.